Thanks for checking out this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe. All right, we had a couple of notes on Raw regarding Worlds Collide. The show is going to take place on June 7th, the same day as Money in the Bank. And the AAA WWE show will air on YouTube at 3 Pacific. And the Money in the Bank show will be airing at 7 Pacific. So they are not head-to-head. They're one right after the other.
Well, they're not going to go head-to-head with their own product.
You would think not, but...
They're not.
There were actually people that thought it was possible they were going to do that, but it's not.
No.
So they have added a very interesting thing, and that is that Chad Gable, they announced Chad Gable will be facing Hijo del Vikingo for the AAA Mega title,
Yes.
although Vikingo is not the Mega champion.
No, he is wrestling Alberto for the championship on the 31st at Juan de la Barrera Gym. Now, what they did was, this was, I mean, the mentality here was, I guess they just wanted the announcement out because, you know, it's a couple weeks away, want to sell tickets and everything. And they thought if they announced it, so what they did is they put it on Raw. It was on Raw tonight, and the graphic was there, AAA Mega Championship, and they said that. Okay, so they actually announced that match for the title. But in Mexico, in the Mexican version of Netflix, they had put up a different graphic, and they didn't mention that it was for the title because in Mexico, in theory, the people would know that Alberto was the champion, but in the United States, they wouldn't know. So that was the mentality for doing this, and they thought that that was okay. And for whatever reason, they, you know, the mentality is that, like, well, if we only announce in the United States, the people in Mexico aren't going to know, not realizing that everyone knew instantly.
Of course.
And so it gives away the finish of the main event at Juan de la Barrera Gym. So there's a couple of things to that. Number one, aside, is that Alberto was, you know, they had spent the last however long, months and months and months, putting heat on Alberto. And they were going to build to this big match for the championship, and probably for the hair with Latin Lover. Or if Latin Lover couldn't wrestle because he's closing in on 60, a rep, okay? But it wasn't going to be Vikingo, and Vikingo was not, like, they had done the Alberto Vikingo matches. Alberto won the title from Vikingo. He had already beaten him, you know, in other matches, and they'd moved away from it. And then suddenly, on this show, on the 31st, they announced that match. So it was kind of like, well, they're probably just trying to get this belt off of Alberto because of the WWE purchase. And so the key is that the original thing for Mexico was that they were not going to interrupt any of the planned storylines, which lasted a few weeks, because obviously they are interrupting this planned storyline because they do not want Alberto as champion. They want Vikingo as champion because he's the one that they're featuring. So, you know, I mean, it basically says like that as far as like who's really in charge, even though they haven't bought it yet, they are in charge of the booking as far as at least the World Championship, and maybe the other titles, because Sansón and Forastero are going to be defending their titles on Saturday, and the one with La Hiedra, who's got the mixed tag title, she's going to be defending. And there's a lot of talks because of Stephanie Vicaire having issues with those people that I just mentioned because of the sexual assault with Quattrero, or the alleged, or whatever, that those people were going to, you know, lose their belts real quick. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, well, I don't know if they're going to all lose their belts, but they all of a sudden, everyone involved is all of a sudden in championship matches this Saturday out of nowhere. So that was very interesting as well. But yeah, so as far as Mexico goes, you know, they thought that people wouldn't know, and they did. And you know, that's that. I mean, it's interesting because it does remind me in '84, when things were, you know, different in the United States. You know, I mean, your TV only aired in certain places. So, you know, Kerry Von Erich beat Ric Flair for the title, and it was going to be a 3-week or so title change. I think it was a 17-day title thing where Kerry was going to lose it back in Japan. So while Kerry is champion, they're promoting Ric Flair title matches all over the place, including on TBS, which is national. they're basically promoting, Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat because they were going to have a match in New York. And in New York, and in particular, they were doing it. And there were many markets where, they were promoting Ric Flair defending the championship when Kerry was champion. Now, the TBS did air in Dallas, but they didn't go in deep, like that in TBS as much as they did in the New York market. But still, there was stuff all over the country.
Are you one of those youngsters today who listens to Spotify? I don't even know what it is. But I do know this. All of our podcasts are available at Spotify. You can head up right now and sign up. The easiest way to do so, f4wonline.com/Spotify. And for just $9.99 per month, you can listen to 84 podcasts on any given month. 84! 2 to 3 podcasts every single day covering pro wrestling and mixed martial arts. And if you think about $9.99 per month, that's just pennies per day. So check it out today on Spotify. That's f4wonline.com/Spotify. f4wonline.com/Spotify.